Welcome back. It's Tim and Julie Harrison. This is your favorite daily real estate coaching and training podcast. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to create a high level roadmap, a blueprint for you to know how to make at least $1 million a year in real estate. And so we have you for today's show and we have you for tomorrow's show. So we're going to give you these points. We're going to obviously present them to you, talk about them a little bit, but you're going to want these notes because there's no way we're going to be able to go through all these points and get every little micro detail. I mean, these are the notes for today's podcast. You guys getting what I'm getting at here? So you want these notes, just go to harrisrealestatedaily.com, which is our free daily newsletter. harrisrealestatedaily.com is our free daily newsletter, and you can subscribe to the newsletter. And there's also a link just down below. And Julie, I am noticing, well, we're really going to get hammered here in Puerto Rico with some sort of big thunderstorm. So. It's very dark.
Kind of gloomy out.
It's very dark out here. It is basically the beginning of the day, and it looks like it's about midnight.
Proof maybe that we record this live.
Maybe we should be seeking shelter. I don't know. I mean, have you gotten any notices?
No, just take comfort in the fact that we have a cement house.
Exactly. Well, so in any event, exactly. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter, harrisrealestatedaily.com, and we are off to the races. All right. And by the way, this is another podcast that was motivated by feedback from a lot of you. Julie and I have a lot of top producing agents and brokers that are joining us as coaching clients, but also with EXP, joining our EXP family, our community. And so that's where this motivation for these notes came from. So any ideas you have, make sure you message Julie and I directly. You can actually text me. I know a lot of you have been doing that over the years, and that's great, at 512-758-0206 for any show ideas, comments, feedback, whatever, or just go over to Instagram, Tim and Julie Harris, and just send us a direct message. All right, Julie, let's roll in.
All right. So again, $1 Million Momentum, the real estate agent's path to predictable profit. The freedom formula. What does making $1 million really mean? Some of these are mindset points. We've split them into lessons. So here's our intro first. For most agents, earning $1 million a year isn't just about the commas in your bank account. It's about freedom to choose your clients, your schedule, your lifestyle, and even maybe your legacy. Making $1 million in gross commission income, sometimes referred to as GCI, isn't magic. It's math and it's mindset. It's about discipline, systems, and daily execution. So just to jot some math down for you so you know what you're signing up for, $1 million in GCI is about 100 transactions at $10,000 average commission. Based on the national average sale price of right around $400,000, just to keep the math easy, I know some of you it's higher, some of you it's lower, that's okay. But that means that if your average sale price is $750,000, it'll take you about 55 deals. If your average sale price is $1 million, it takes you about 40. And we have some coaching clients where their average sale price, go them, is more like $2 million. That means you only need 20 deals. So if you have not yet put this together, it might be a good idea to have a decent average sale price.
And if you have a low average sale price and you're hating on the people that only have to do 40 sides a year and you have to do 400 sides a year in order to make $1 million, and you're thinking how jealous you are of the people that only have to sell 40, we're there with you, because when Julie and I first got in the business, our average sale price was low. And then we ended up basically having a sale price that was close to $1 million after about 10 years. But the moral of the story is we feel you. We really do.
Have that light bulb go off earlier for you.
Yeah, exactly. We took too long to realize that, it's actually less competitive. This will shock a lot of you. It's actually the higher up you go in price ranges, it's less competitive, because sellers will make decisions more based on centers of influence and past clients. And the lower end price range is oftentimes where you do have to sell, obviously, a lot of houses to make good money. That's where you're going to get your best competitors. That's where they're going to have the best listing presentations, the best everything. They're going to have their scripts down. They're going to have their, all the things.
Because they, like you, need more transactions, which means ultimately they have more experience because they've been on more appointments.
Now, if you're in a lower sale price range and you're having the epiphany go off, well, what Tim just said must be true. And here's how it translates. You move to an area where there's a higher sale price, or just start selling there, you'll find that the competition oftentimes does not pre-qualify, has no listing presentation, has no pre-listing pack, does not know how to overcome sellers' objections. Really, they've been relying on the fact that they play tennis with them and to get the listing. And in a market like what we're experiencing now in a lot of parts of the country, where it's starting to become more of a balanced market, let alone a buyer's market like in Las Vegas, the upper end sellers are going to have already listed probably as expireds. They've expired with their center of influence and past client friend who they play tennis with, and now they're going to be looking for somebody who's a professional. Then you can actually start moving up in price range. A market like this is the best time to move up in price range, but I digress. So what we're going to be doing is focusing on helping you guys to at least start out by grossing $1 million a year in commission. And then after that, which we're not going to do on today's show, maybe tomorrow, is we're going to talk about how to net. So it's one thing to earn $1 million, pay your expenses, all the rest of it. It's another thing to net $1 million after all of your expenses. These, this is how it goes. This is the progression. And we are huge advocates of you benchmarking yourself, not just on transactions, number of units in your volume, but actually on the amount of money you earn, but most importantly, the amount of money you keep. Future version of you is going to be, frankly, the most proud of the current version for having actually had a big net and knowing what to do with it and investing that money. All right, Julie, let's get to lesson number 1. Own your outcomes, no excuses.
Yes. So here's your mantra. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Your broker, the market, interest rates, or who's president do not control your destiny. You do. So you've got to take full ownership of your results. Agents who stop blaming everything else and start acting become unstoppable. So again, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, meaning you. There will be at least 4.1 million sales. Last week they were saying 4 million, and I just read something this morning. Due to the fourth quarter uptick, we're now on track to do better than that. Yay. That's fantastic. But the only question is, how many transactions will you be involved in? That's why we introduced this topic as figure out if $1 million is your goal, how many transactions based on your own average sale price, your own average commission is it going to take? Well, there's going to be plenty to go around. How many are you going to participate in? Go ahead.
We have 3,100 people in our EXP Realty group, Julie, and I can tell you, it's interesting you said this. I can already see what you said is true. We can see when you're with EXP Realty, you can, and you have a group of agents you've brought in, sponsored, and your revenue share group. You can actually see what they're transacting and how many transactions they're doing, and you can benchmark it month after month, week after week. And there's no doubt what we've been predicting that fourth quarter of this year would officially be the start of the next year it's playing out. What you're seeing, what you're going to be experiencing is your spring market of 2026 has already started. It's just a function of whether you have the mindset to actually realize that maybe you're used to, trailing down this time of year. Do the exact opposite, because that's where you're going to get the biggest advantage. Again, mindset this time of year is, it's true all the times of the year, but this one especially is true. Oh, there's more houses for sale. Houses are taking longer to sell. Opportunity. Oh, why would I want listings? A lot of listings are expiring. Opportunity. Oh, you guys get it? No excuses. If it's meant to be, it's up to you. All right. Lesson number 2, invest time before money. Definitely true.
Yes. Realized that most people spend 4 or 5 or 6 years in college before they even think about trying to get a job. Why is it that real estate agents want instant success? So invest time before you go doing crazy things like buying leads. You wouldn't expect to earn a degree without years of study. Real estate mastery does take some effort. So if you are working sporadically, you're going to earn sporadically. If you work consistently, you're going to achieve momentum, mastery, and money. So that brings us to something that we've done entire podcasts about. So we're just going to give you the bullet points here. And again, you can drill down on the podcast and in the newsletter.
Let me, before you get to the first one. So it's important if you guys, I know people say this, and I know Julie and I sell coaching and training, right? So be as skeptical all you want. But the truth is if you're earning less than probably about $250,000, but especially $100,000 a year, there probably isn't a better investment for you learning how to get better at what you're doing, because really you're never going to earn any amount of money until you get really good at making it. And you're not going to get really good at making it if you're not actually learning how to be a proactive lead generator, pre-qualify, present. You've got to really master 3 to 5 skills at the highest level in real estate. And after that, everything is, frankly, a lot easier. Become a listing agent, focus on all those things. So depending on where you are in your income, how much money you're making, don't look for crypto or don't think about anything else other than investing in yourself and making it so that you can actually be more effective and you can actually make more money. And that is going to be for sure. And again, I want to be really clear. That's not branding. It's not marketing. It's not buying leads. It's not working on your website. It's proactive lead generation. It's pre-qualifying. It's presenting. It's negotiating. It's closing and learning to be really good at lead follow-up. You master those things, you're unstoppable. And when you're good at proactive lead generation, which means you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to do the things we teach you to do in Premier Coaching, you will never have to buy leads, which means that when you gross a million, you're going to keep like 950 grand versus agents who gross a million, woo, I did it. But guess how much they keep? On average, 150 to 200 grand. That's because they spent all their money. And if you guys are in that paradigm now, it's because you have never been taught how to be a proactive lead generator and you don't have the mindset of building a very profitable business with a huge net income. I think of Chuck Williamson in North Carolina, a rural area of North Carolina. And I'm not going to tell you how much Chuck earns, but I'll tell you in the last 5 years, he has earned low 8 figures as far as how much money he's actually earned in commission. And I know Chuck because I coach him. He's part of our EXP Realty group. He makes huge net. He'll make probably when Chuck earns $10,000, he's probably keeping before taxes about 9,500, maybe 9,600 of that $10,000. He's not blowing it on stupid things. He's not worrying about marketing and branding. I had to show him how to get on Facebook, and he's younger than me. I mean, you think, oh, that guy's in the Stone Age. He's rich. Maybe you should learn something from him.
He knows how to lather, rinse, repeat. That's what you're saying, is he's built the skill. And now it's lather, rinse, repeat, which allows him to do things like invest and not blow it on speculation.
And when he and I talk, that's what we talk about. We talk about, should I buy more rental properties? Should I buy an S&P 500? Should I be building a family trust? Should I do it? All these things. That's because Chuck knows how to freaking make money. A lot of you have not really realized yet, you don't know how to consistently make money. That's the reason that you should be investing in learning how to actually, make money. Learn how to actually proactively lead generate. Now, the 4 stages of learning. It's really critical you identify where you are in, say, for example, let's specifically pick a skill, proactive lead generation. So you've decided that you're going to go after expireds. Go you, smart, totally and completely home run idea. Where are you with knowing how to actually go after an expired listing? And now ask yourself that question as Julie describes to you the 4 levels of learning.
Right. And you're never at the same level on every skill at the same time. So that's why Tim said, let's isolate just proactive lead generation. And why did you go there? Because if you don't have that down, the rest of it is pretty irrelevant. So the 4 stages of learning, the first one is called formulation. That's getting ready to get started, building your plan. And some agents stay there forever. They're always looking for free stuff online. They're getting advice on Facebook realtor groups. They're getting ready to get started. They're taking surveys. They're not actually doing the work, which is number 2. That's called concentration. The second stage of learning is called concentration.
Well, so let's
doing the work.
Let's break it down, Jules. You're skipping a vital important thing. Most people never get past the first step, which is formulation, for basically anything in their entire lives after they graduate from high school or even college. Because in high school and college, you have to do something to get something. But for the most part, once people, become adults, they never actually become really, really good at anything. Most people, there's a statistic that most people never run again, run after like age 40, like never run again.
Most people never read a book beginning to end.
Right. So if you are somebody who's willing to accept the fact that you don't like this formulation is where you don't know what you don't know. A lot of people who say, I'm just a natural at sales, I'm a people person. Those are the people that are still in formulation. Or, I have every appointment I go on, I always take. It's because you're going on listing appointments with your mom. I mean, it's not the same. Right. And so what it takes for someone to realize what they don't know is when they start losing. But here's what happens when people start losing. Most times, and this is really important that you get this, they quit. They don't just say, screw it, I'm not going to sell real estate anymore, but they quit on themselves. They quit trying. Then they start going back and making excuses. It's the interest rates. It's the market.
It's the
other
market.
agents
Nobody's buying or selling right now.
Exactly. So they don't move past the fact that they just have to accept the fact that they're just not as good as they thought they were. That's too much for their egos to handle. They're going to look for outside excuses why they're not ever going to be, good at anything. And then eventually, slowly they start to fail. And that's the reason most agents they don't last in the business, but maybe 24 months, because they don't move past their ego and they don't say, damn it, I'm going to be the best listing agent, especially with going after expireds that there ever was. I am not going to accept losing. You might lose once, you might lose twice. And what you do instead of quitting, even quitting a little bit, you say, screw that. I'm not going to lose anymore. I'm going to actually learn how to win. And then you have to be fanatical about winning. And that has to be your mindset. You have to say to yourself, I'm not as good as I thought I was. Turns out my sales skills of being a school teacher or being a jet pilot do not transfer to real estate. I need to accept the fact that I am maybe at ground zero, if not less than ground zero. School me up. Tell me what to do. Give me a system to follow. Those, once you make it past the first level to the second level, I bet you in life, there's less than 5% of people that ever do that because most people either, outwardly quit or they internally quit on themselves, their dreams and the goals. And that quitting compounds over time. Days, years, weeks, months, and then they just forget, they just completely quit on what they could have otherwise done in their lives because they never decided to be the best at any one damn thing. Matthew McConaughey says something. He said, let me make sure I get this right. He said, life is barely long enough to get good at one thing, choose wisely. And what I also prescribe to all of you is you choose to be really, really good at becoming a listing agent and specifically expired listings, and especially in a market like that. You do what I just said and you become the best at it. You are so good at it, doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. We could plop you in any town USA and you know exactly what to do to go take listings. That's how you make $1 million. And that's how eventually you net $1 million. That's the bottom line. But after you move past the realizing you're not as good as you thought you were, or realizing that you're losing because you're not as good as you thought you were, then you go to the next stage, which is concentration. Julie?
And concentration is when you have to, they call it a real estate practice because you have to practice at it. You have to practice those new skills. This is usually when people join coaching because they have that aha moment. They've been introspective, like you just laid out, which takes a lot of maturity to look inward and say, you know what? Maybe I'm only averaging 6 to 12 deals a year because that's all I kind of naturally
No,
generate or attract.
sorry
Or
to
maybe
interrupt.
it's, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, but look how the ecosystem inside real estate works. When you fail, when was the
Mhm.
last time you went on a listing appointment, you told some of your real estate friends, you didn't take the listing appointment, and what do? They helped create the excuses for you to have failed.
Sure.
Oh, the other agent probably knew them. Other agent overpriced it. Other agent cut their commission, whatever, right? Oh, the house wasn't really that great anyway.
Somebody overpriced it, blah, blah,
They
blah.
reinforce you
Yeah.
losing. And then you're like, well, shit, you're right. That's fine. When was the last time you had a friend that said, you lost because you suck? You lost
Yeah.
because
And then your office manager, your broker says, well, it's normal to only take half of it anyway.
exactly. When was the last time you had someone in your life that said, well, let's talk about it and let's figure out where you screwed up? They don't know how to diagnose where you screwed up either. They don't know what to tell you where you did wrong. But unless you're willing to suck it up, buttercup, and actually learn and set aside all your ego and say, how do I get better? How do I make it so I never lose again? Losing is terrible. You're never going to move past the first phase and you're never going to get to concentration. Concentration, and so I'll just tell you guys this. Formulation stage agents, they might sign up for Premier Coaching, but they'll quit. They never get past. As soon as they realize they have to learn some
I don't
stuff,
like the work.
and they don't like the work. They just don't. They don't want to do what they don't want to do when they don't want to do at the highest level. They refuse to do what they don't want to do when they don't want to do it at the highest level, and so they quit. And they're just going to go to, they're going to pop over and listen to some fairy tale and how you can basically just do social media and whatnot and have the buyer leads, all these lies in real estate that have cost millions of agents their careers because no one's telling them the truth about what it takes to be successful in real estate long term. How many of you have come across anybody like Julie and I in your whole time you've been in real estate? How many? Who? Because everyone's telling you what you want to hear. They're telling you it's about social media, branding, marketing, all the fun stuff, all the easy stuff, all the stuff that requires virtually no skill, all the stuff that has virtually no rejection, all the stuff that you easily want to do. Whereas what Julie and I are going to do, we're going to tell you the truth. We're going to tell you to do what you don't want to do when you don't want to do at the highest level. And we're going to never say anything other than that because we're never going to lie to you. So when you are ready for that type of messaging, you're ready to become a premier coaching client, you're also in the concentration phase. And the concentration phase is where you're ready to get to work. Concentration is where you're going to practice. Well, concentration is where you're going to get your systems together. You're going to get your pre-listing pack together. You're going to get on the phone and you're going to actually do the real work of real estate. You're going to learn how to get price reductions. You're going to learn how to act. Now, you're not going to be good at any of it, but our pre-listing pack and our listing scripts and our systems are going to reinforce. You're going to fill in the gaps where your skill set drops off.
You will get better at it.
You
And
will.
you won't win every time, but when you're in concentration, you ask yourself why. I did A, B, and C really well. This is a typical, even an elite, because this can happen at any level, right? Even an elite coaching client or one-on-one clients who typically take everything, sometimes they'll be like, I don't know what happened. And we'll get into it and we'll say, well, are you following the system? What did you miss? Did you not pre-qualify? Did you not send your pre-listing package because it was your best friend? You're not going to win every time, but the difference between formulation and concentration is you ask yourself why, and then you get help, and then you do something about it, and then you systematically correct that every time after that.
The challenge is knowing who to ask. The
Yes.
challenge is, are you qualifying who you're listening to? You're not. I know you're not. So 4 filters when choosing anyone in the real estate business who frankly, you know, people calling themselves coaches is a joke. That's just straight up ridiculous. So if you're choosing to find a coach or hire someone to listen to, even a mentor, I want you to ask them these 4, arguably 5 questions. Write these down because they're not in our notes. Number one, have you had a real estate license before? Look, guys, there is somebody out there who's been in the business as long as we have. He's never had a real estate license before. He's
Ever.
never gone on a listing appointment. He's never sold real estate before anywhere. He never brings it up. He doesn't like it when you bring it up. He'll never mention it. He'll do everything in his power to never actually have it be a subject, but he's never sold real estate before. So if I were looking to hire somebody to train me how to sell real estate, the very least requirement is, have you actually done it? Do you have a real estate license? It's not like it's hard to get a real estate license. Why didn't he ever get a real estate license? Nothing. You guys know who I'm talking about. The second question I would ask, let's assume you did come across somebody who's had a real estate license who calls themselves a coach. Next question I'd ask is, guess what? Have you sold 100 houses in a year? Have you actually sold 100 houses in a year? Because I got news for you. If they haven't, I'm not saying, they're not maybe good at whatever it is. I'm not trying to, be overly harsh here, but you deserve the best. And in this marketplace, if you're going to hire a real estate coach and they haven't sold themselves at least 100 houses in a year, I wouldn't consider them. You can do better. The third filter you should run them through is, okay, so remember, first one, you had a real estate license. Second one is, did you sell 100 houses per year? Check, check. Okay. Third filter, did they sell at least 100 houses per year for 5 years in a row? And I'm going to tell you why that's an important question, because it shows that that 1 year that they sold 100 houses wasn't just luck. By meaning luck, I mean they listed a subdivision. Their uncle Bob, who's a farmer, subdivided, and they got 300 lots that they sold to builders. Who knows what, right? You can kind of game the whole 100 houses in a year thing. Okay. Or are they taking credit for a bunch of referrals that came from Zillow that they then farmed off to a bunch of agents? So what do they know how to
It can also be a
do?
team thing that 20 of them did 100 deals.
Exactly. In other words, not good enough for you. License check. Sold 100 houses in a year, check. Sold 100 houses for more than 5 years in a row, check. That third category, that's somebody who actually has proven their ability to sell real estate consistently, and probably different markets, probably different interest rates. They probably have figured out how to keep their mindset in alignment. They've got some stuff going in their favor. But the last filter is the most important one, because there's a lot of people out there that have sold. We coach them, so I know. A lot of people out there that have sold more than 100 houses per year for at least 5 years. I mentioned Chuck earlier. He's probably been selling, 150, 200, sometimes 250 houses per year for at least 10 years. But I wouldn't hire Chuck to be my real estate coach. I'd go to him and ask him for advice, though, for sure, as if I were local in his market. But I wouldn't hire him as a coach. Why? Because the fourth filter is the most important one. Have you actually had 10,000 paid coaching calls where someone has paid you money for you to help them one-on-one?
More than once.
You guys are thinking, well, why are you being so particular? Because people lie. When you ask them, so how long have you been a real estate coach? They will say, I have 5,000 people that have been, I had an event.
I've presented to thousands or whatever.
They change the question. They gaslight you with their question. I've got so many people that follow me on Instagram. Oh, I've coached 1 million agents because they are all part of my YouTube community. That's not
I'm a regular at the KW meetings.
Exactly. I've spoken at the last whatever event, and there were 2,000 people in the audience, and I coached them. So I have coached them. No, you didn't. Not the same, but you guys need to get smarter about who you listen to, because what a lot of you guys are doing, and this is the reason so many of you are failing or struggling needlessly, is you're listening to people who haven't had any of those check boxes, let alone the last one. Because if they have had a real estate license, sold 100 houses in a year, sold at least 100 houses for 5 years in a row, and have had 10,000 paid coaching calls, that's somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. They know how to sell real estate at a high level. They know how to build a business from zero to something very successful. But you wouldn't have had, as a real estate coach, the opportunity to have 10,000 coaching calls where people were paying you unless you knew what the hell you were doing. And I have news for you. In the industry right now that meet those criteria, all four of those filters, which should be very self-evident. There's probably maybe 5 of us. You're looking at 2 of them right now. Julie and I have exceed all those expectations. And we've had way more than 10,000 paid coaching calls in our real estate coaching career. And so have all of our coaches at this point. So why would you take advice from somebody that doesn't meet those 4 criteria? Why? Because you didn't know the questions to ask. Now you do. And before you listen to somebody on Yahoo or before you go to some group, even if they speak confidently, which is what a lot of them do, don't confuse confidence with competence. Don't confuse confidence with competence, because it could be an AI that's speaking with confidence and your brain is assuming that they're speaking confidently, they must be competent. Get the difference? It's not true. Run the filters by them. If someone wants to be your real estate coach or you're going to get advice from them, make sure they're qualified. Otherwise, you're going to be taking advice from somebody, and then that bad advice is then going to compound. I've been working on my brand for 27,000 years. How's that working out for you? I've been trying to create my YouTube videos. I want to become an influencer. All right, how's that working out for you? You guys get the point? Be very careful who you listen to, or you're just going to end up as real estate roadkill. That breaks my heart, because we get every year thousands of agents that show up in our orbit who are, have suffered needlessly because some goofball came to their office and gave some, pep talk at an office meeting about some social media thing. And that's they went down that path, or some other, gimmicky thing. And that's what they thought they were supposed to do. And it didn't work out. And to Julie's earlier point, they spent money before they had the skill. They spent money on all this marketing and the branding and the building of the websites. Most of what we tell you guys to do costs you nothing. Nothing. I mean, Premier Coaching to join is free for the first month. Then after that, it's $197 a month. And it's your complete real estate system, lead generation, pre-qualifying scripts, everything, including a daily semi-private coaching call. We're not overpriced. If anything, we're underpriced, because our mission at this point in our careers and our lives is to help as many people as we can in the most efficient way that we can, and meeting you guys where you're at. And that goes back to the next point, which is momentum. And point number 3, unless you've pushed yourself through the first 2 levels, you're never going to get to momentum. Julie?
And yet everybody wants to skip those first 2 levels and go straight to momentum, which is why you guys break that previous rule or that previous lesson, and you throw money at things and you speculate because you want to get right into momentum. I see it online all the time on the realtor forums and Facebook things and Instagram and the whole thing. An agent will say, excuse me, they'll say, I made $10,000 on my last closing. Where should I spend it? That should not be the question. It should be, where should I invest it? Thank you. Exactly. But you're looking to skip the concentration, because the concentration, that second level, is hard. That requires work. That requires being introspective. That requires you saying, you know what, I'm good at these 3 or 4 things, but I'm still, gosh, I'm not taking every listing I go on. Why is that?
Well, it really requires
only when you live through concentration can you get to momentum.
But it really requires somebody that is going to put your feelings second to actually helping you solve the problem. It's going to require somebody asking you the questions that you didn't even ever think to have asked, so you can actually move past what's holding you back as far as becoming a very powerful listing agent. Look, we obviously teach you guys how to be listing agents, buyer agents, building a team, do all the things. But we really want you to focus on where your real power is going to come in the real estate business is being a listing agent. When you're a listing agent, you will control your inventory. You will control your schedule. You'll actually have a real business. All these other things, and the reason that everyone focuses on it, because to be a listing agent requires skill, and it requires you doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do at the highest level. But that's where all the money is, and that's where it's always been, and that's where it'll always be. Look, who knows what's going to happen with Compass doing their their own listings and off markets and all the rest of it. All I know is if you have listings, you're not you're not on the wrong side of that argument. Who cares if Compass does off-market listings? Who cares if they decide to do their MLS? If you got your own listings, you control your own destiny. If you're a buyer's agent, you don't, and you never will, and you never have. Please take seriously what I'm saying, especially now where we are in this macro real estate cycle, because we are 100% poised as an industry to start experiencing the biggest real estate boom that's going to last a generation, which is 20 to 25 years, We're right there now. You're already seeing it in the numbers. You're seeing it with the pendings going up. You're seeing it with the revisions to the projected number of homes that are going to sell this year. It is going to be incredible for those who absolutely know how to go after listings, because then you're going to have leverage. Buyer agent commissions, and what's going to happen with that? Who cares? Focus on being a listing agent. Yes, we'll teach you to do the other things, but where our North Star will always be is telling you the truth about what it does, what it takes to create generational wealth in your life. And it starts with the mindset of, I want to be a listing agent. Show me how. And nobody else does it like we do it. No one else is going to tell you what we tell you. I'm sorry to be so fired up today, but between recordings today, I had a coaching session, an impromptu coaching session with, just the person was telling me about the success they've had while using our 7-step listing process and sent the pre-listing pack. And I hadn't talked to this person, coaching client, took a month off, came back, more like 2 months off, came back, signed back up. And I asked them, so how many listing appointments have you gone on since last time we talked? I've gone on 23. Well, 23, that's pretty awesome. Expired centers of influence and past clients okay, how many have you taken? 23. Went on 23.
That's what's supposed to happen.
Exactly. And what do those leads cost? Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, so that person is in momentum, possibly even in stage 4 breakthrough, which is performing at a high level without boredom or burnout in a predictable, duplicatable way. That way they can lather, rinse, repeat, and they say, I now know that I now have the skill to do A, B, C, D, and E. I can do it as most efficiently as possible. I can predict it. I can duplicate it. I can scale it up. I can scale it down. I can have 23 listings if I want to. Maybe I feel like I only need 15. Maybe I know how to. I've got one coaching client that's maintaining 50 right now. They are in breakthrough. They know how to do all of these things. The challenge then, and again, this is where sometimes we have clients come to us as elite coaching clients, one-on-one coaching clients, because they're at that breakthrough and they know they're getting a little bored, or they know that something just doesn't feel right.
They want to go to the next level, but they're not seeing where. So what happens is in the third level, momentum, that's also, if you guys want to scale this back to the levels of learning, this is the levels of learning, but what's it called, Julie? Conscious competence?
Conscious competence, yes, where you know how to do what you're doing. Yeah.
Right. So conscious competent, and when you're momentum, that's where you know what you're doing. You know what to do. You know how to do it. You've had enough success at it, but you still have to think and you still have to check to make sure you're doing it right. But when you're on the top level, when you're on momentum, then what's happening is you're operating on autopilot. It does not matter what the seller or the buyer or anybody says to you. You've had the conversation so many times.
You're going to take the listing. Yeah.
You're going to take the listing. I mean, Julie and I are that way with this podcast, frankly. We have notes, but we don't create the notes for ourselves. We create the notes for you for the newsletter, because a lot of you have asked for the notes. And Julie spends a lot of time creating these notes, her and her writing assistants. And if you want these notes, remember, sign up for the newsletter at harrisrealestatedaily.com or click the link below and you can get the newsletter, and it's absolutely free. All right, Julie, you think we have time for one more point? Lesson number 3?
Lesson number 3 is pretty big, so I kind of want to save that to start tomorrow's part 2.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. So listen, guys, thank you for keeping this the #1 daily real estate coaching and training podcast in at least the United States. It's our pleasure and our honor to have been and to be part of your lives for as long as we have. I mean, we've done, as far as podcasts go, probably at this point, close to at least 15, maybe 17,000 podcasts. And the reason we keep doing it is because you guys are showing us so much gratitude for having done it. And we love the feedback. Nothing makes us happier than getting a note from one of you saying what you learned directly applied to you, helping you take a listing, solve a problem, whatever. That tells us that we're in alignment with our highest and truest purpose on this planet, which is being of service to others, same as yours, but the others that we chose to be of service to are all of you. The others that you have chosen to be of service to are your real estate buyers and sellers. So please say thank you by giving us a 5-star review over on iTunes, and not just a 5-star review. And by the way, it's super easy to do. When you're on iTunes, just scroll to the bottom, click the 5 stars, and then just leave a real quick comment. Just do that, and we would sincerely appreciate it. That's your price of admission, I guess, is one maybe not so tactful way of saying it, but we certainly appreciate the reviews that we get on iTunes. And we appreciate you allowing us to be in alignment with our highest and truest purpose on this planet, which is being of service to all of you. We're going to pick up tomorrow where we left off today. Have a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you on the show tomorrow. Hello, thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. And don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video. Remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.